Hi everybody, happy week. I'm now starting my weeks on a Tuesday. You know, it's Sag season. I do what I want. The week doesn't have to start on a Sunday or a Monday. Out of interest, do you think of the first day of the week as a Sunday or a Monday? Because I'm like, absolutely a Monday is the start of the week. Because I'm like, if you start your week on a Sunday, I feel like you're taking my weekend away from me, and I'm not interested in that happening. Anyway, I came on because as much as I want to do a written post for the week ahead, and I've got notes here, I am finding it harder and harder to write swathes of text on my phone, like with my thumb. It just gets really painful. It really impacts like general daily movements and exercises, especially press-ups, which I can't actually do, but I try. So maybe I need to learn to do Instagram from my laptop, but I just feel that is like really going backwards. Or maybe I just need to speak to ChatGPT, but I just haven't. I would need to like understand how it works, because like if ChatGPT just made me something, I'd be like, but how did you get there? Like, I need to know the system, which is funny because like I've got a Mercury in Capricorn, and like I need to know the long form way that you got somewhere in my way of like understanding and communicating. And I'm just writing about Mercury in Capricorn actually for a written reading. So that's interesting. Anyways, what I thought is I just do loads of rambly stories because I haven't done for a while. And I'm on like day 3 of my cycle. So I'm kind of coming out of a really horrendous like inner winter. And I'm just so happy to actually be alive and for the sun to be shining. That sounds really dramatic, but that's just how inner winter felt for me this month. So anyway, the main features of this week are that Mercury is going to finally station direct on Saturday. I'm looking at my little notes. At 20 degrees of Scorpio. And I think it's fair to say that we are all ready for that. Mercury retrograde in like this water sign, you know, it started off in Sag in the fire sign, but now it's in this water sign. It's reactivating all of the groundwater trine energies. And it's just been like so much emotional, like going through the slurry, going through ancestral stuff coming up, like very emotional, very kind of psychic stuff. So anyway, that's stationing direct on Saturday. So we should start to get a reinvigoration of activity in the birth chart house where Scorpio rules for you, and look at the Sagittarius house as well, which will be the next house along, because that's where Mercury actually went retrograde. So the Mercury retrograde began in Sagittarius about 3 weeks ago, and it went back into the sign of Scorpio. So this Mercury retrograde stopped me from being able to speak properly, and also covered 2 birth chart houses for you. And it will also recover 2 birth chart houses for you as it changes to go in direct motion and addresses everything that it kind of undid during the retrograde. So for example, I've sat down to do my car insurance renewal a few times now, and it's still like, why is it so complicated? It's like, why can't you just add all the stuff on at the beginning so that when you give me a quote, it's got everything in it? Not like, do you want to pay an extra £2 a month for this and a £2, and then suddenly you go from like 20 quid a month to 30 quid a month, and it's just like, no, I don't. Can you just make sure it's all in the first quote and not piss me off anymore? So that's going to be on Saturday. Anyway, Mercury direct, I feel like that's quite a good energy to start to make us feel like we're making some headway, moving forwards, solving communication issues that may have come up during the retrograde. We've also got Saturn stationing direct just the day before at 25 degrees of Pisces. And Saturn has been retrograde for a few months now, and so this is the final stage of Saturn in Pisces for the next 29 years. Once it moves 5 degrees on and we reach Saturn in Aries, then it's there to stay in Aries for the next kind of 2.5 to 3 years before we start getting Saturn moving into Taurus, which will be a whole other energy. But yes, and that Saturn is stationing direct on Friday the 28th or Thursday the 27th if you are in a different time zone to the UK where I'm filming this, around about 4 a.m. in the UK. In the whole sign house of Pisces. So Saturn stationing direct in Pisces, this story has been about where we set boundaries, limitations, where we receive no's instead of yeses in the whole sign house of Pisces in our birth chart. And Pisces is to do with empathy, creativity, intuition, tarot reading, palmistry, astrology, art, music, painting, creativity, being a musical genius, for example, just very empathic, very intuitive, and it's about putting the boundaries up. Like, where have you reached your limitations when it comes to your creativity? Maybe you started a creative project and you're finally reaching like the limit of that. It's like, no, I can take this no further. That is Saturn in Pisces. But with Saturn actually turning direct, maybe it is like, I can take this just like 5 degrees further, and then that's truly going to be it for the next 29 years. So the whole sign house of Pisces in your birth chart is going to be showing you which life area you're seeing this this change of direction, this perceived change of direction of Saturn in Pisces, and putting limitations, boundaries, structure around some of that intuitive, endless empathy. And I feel like this was very much a story last year when the South Node, 2024, when the South Node was in Libra as well as Saturn being in Pisces. And it's funny because I did talk at the time about Pisces and Libra, they don't make an aspect to each other. They're not particularly kind of in sync, but they are both Venus ruled signs. And actually, I think when I checked, Libra and Pisces are in anticia to each other, which has something to do with the light levels at the time of the year that we are in. So when we're in Pisces season, which is kind of March in the Northern Hemisphere, and late February, early March. And then also Libra season, which is late September, early October, the light levels in the sky, this is what Anticia is. I feel like I put an Easter egg about that on my stories the other day. I was like, Anticia, this is Anticia. And then I didn't explain what it was. Because I just do that sometimes on Instagram. Like, if I'm doing a reading, then I will always explain. Or if you're in a class or something like that, then I always explain. But on Instagram, I can just be a little bit like, I'll put stuff out there, and then sometimes I can explain it and sometimes I can't. But yeah, it's to do with the light levels. So I find myself really in awe and wonder about the sunrises and sunsets at the time of year when we are in Pisces season, or the sun is in Pisces, and Libra season when the sun is in Libra. And that's because these two signs are anticia to each other, which is like a secret conjunction in astrology. Anyway, I can't remember why I started talking about that. Just creative projects, endless boundaries, limitations. That's it, people pleasing. So I feel like when the South Node was in Libra last year and Saturn was in firmly in Pisces, we were being really tested about letting go and releasing, over giving to other people, because Libra can be quite familiar with this idea of give to other people and not keep enough for the self. And that's more in a kind of social constructs type way, whereas Pisces is give because it's an air sign, Libra. Pisces is a water sign, so it's much more give in this empathic, let me feel all your pain for you, and let me take it all away from you, and actually now you're okay and I've got nothing left for myself because I've given too much. And that is definitely speaking from experience with my Pisces moon and midheaven. Sometimes I can't help myself and I will give. And emotionally and try and comfort. And as a Cancer rising as well, there's all this water just I must try and help, and I must try and empathize, and I really must, this person's going through so much pain and I must really try and feel into that and feel it for them as though it is some way that I can carry it for them. And actually, it's not possible. I think it's possible to maybe lighten the load and share through familiar experience or something like that, or holding space for somebody, but actually just feeling it for somebody, perhaps that's not very practical or very useful or very good for anybody involved. So that is definitely part of my own personal Saturn in Pisces story. Wednesday is quite a busy day in terms of the astrology as well. We've got Mars conjunct Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius. I quite like this one. It's quite spicy. I'm a big fan. I don't know why I'm so itchy, but I'm suddenly really itchy. I'm a big fan of Black Moon Lilith. She is like the part of us that has been downtrodden, made to feel shame, made to feel repressed. And she is very primal, and she is very much like that burning emotional sexual desire that kind of bursts out of you when you've just been repressed for far too long. And when Mars is getting involved, it's almost like this ability to confront that energy with male energies in your life, or to confront your sense of like passion and determination, perhaps to confront something around your own relationship with anger, for example. And, perhaps your own relationship with anger is increased, is kind of, there's an ability to understand where the anger is coming from when there's this conjunction with Black Moon Lilith, because it's like my sense of suppression, or being like, really held down, and all I want to do is just explode with creativity and kind of bright light and, self-expression, has been like numbed or kept down by other people in society with a very masculine energy. And Mars is like coming along and poking at that door and being like, let it all out, let it rain free. In the sign of Sagittarius, it's very much like, fuck this. Let's go. Let's let it all out. Let's dance naked around the fire. Let's just burn our bras. Let's do all of that stuff. That is just like such a cliche thing to say, but that is just the way that I feel about it. Also, the sign of Sagittarius is very connected to freedom and just this absolute desire to, just to feel like at one with the universe, and to go out and explore every corner of the universe and go and see what it feels like just to be an archer on their journey, going on some kind of spiritual quest through life with some sense of like Lilith authenticity and pure courage and bravery. So anyway, that's Wednesday. Also on Wednesday, we've got Venus in Scorpio at 24 degrees, trine Jupiter in Cancer at 24 degrees, trine Saturn in Pisces at 25 degrees retrograde. Jupiter and Saturn are both retrograde there. So this is like an ongoing trine that we've been experiencing from the Mercury transits and the Mars transits, and now the Venus transit. This can be quite helpful and fortuitous as an energy and a transit. It could bring in some good luck, some optimism, some kind of helping hands in terms of material things, or like chance meetings with feminine energies in your life, which can bring positive stuff, a positive emotional experience, quite healing in some respects, but it can also exacerbate where you're feeling kind of emotionally stuck, because we've got that Saturn retrograde involved, and any connections with higher institutions like universities, or with the law perhaps, and with women. It can just really exaggerate and like put a lot of energy towards those things, because a grand trine is just like this constantly flowing cycle of water in this instance, covering some of those topics. And then finally, for this week's astrology, on Friday, we have got Venus in Scorpio at 27 degrees, trining Neptune in Pisces at 29 degrees. So this is just as Venus is going into the activation range, if you like, of this trine aspect. So what's another little watery bit of free-flowing energy amongst friends when we've been experiencing the grand water trine for so long now? Bringing Neptune into the mix in the sign of Pisces means that we may not feel very clear. Speech may even be sort of a little bit mumbled on this day, on Friday. Meeting up with female energies, like maybe you're meeting your friend for coffee, something like that, that could be up for review. That might not actually take place. Neptune just likes to put like smoke signals in front of the kind of activities that we're actually trying to achieve. And the thing with Neptune is like, instead of trying to fight it and like make it a solid, tangible thing, like a solid, tangible meet up for coffee, instead, just try and go with it. Just try and have faith and surrender that this is all happening for a reason. Very important with Neptune transits. And this will be kind of taking place all weekend and kind of starting to clear as of next week. So the fog will kind of slowly start to lift, but it is an excellent energy for anything intuitive that you might be doing. Neptune is also going to be stationing direct soon because it's currently retrograde. So it is presenting as a stronger energy in the skies right now, as opposed to if it wasn't stationing to change direction. And so if you're trying to hone some intuitive skills like tarot reading, crystal ball reading, palmistry, astrology, those kinds of things, then this is a really great time to actually just free flow with that energy. For example, if you offer out intuitive readings or tarot readings, like I now have on my website, and I know lots of other people that offer out intuitive readings, this is a great time to get one of those done, because all of your favorite divinatory practice people will be on like, you know, top form in terms of their skills at like just receiving the messages that need to come through. Because there's a lack of boundaries. And so a bit like the Pisces stuff I was talking about earlier, actually it's quite helpful if you're in need of receiving a reading, because what the people that work with energetics and, you know, the unseen world, connection to kind of other worlds as well, you know, people that have passed on in the previous lives and in next lives and other universal energies as well, they're just going to not have really their filters in place. So their ability to connect with your energy is like very strong right now.